Welcome back to our message recap, where we go over the messages that we had the previous Sunday. We just wrapped up a series called Essentials.
Yes, we
with
did.
the message relationships.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did.
Well, that was
And you know what? So I can check the back end of who texts.
Yeah.
We got 3 times as many people sign up for groups.
Wow.
So clearly, I think if people
was
don't get what we
effective.
talk about, all we got to do is just
Say it again. Just say it again.
Maybe they just
missed
needed
it
a
the
week
first
to
time.
sink in. They needed it to sink
That
in.
was probably it.
Yeah.
Way to go. I'm in a good mood for this week's video.
Good. Better than last week.
Better than last.
That is funny. So
Oh, wait, but
times.
how many people signed up to volunteer? Anybody? Or new givers? Or no? I'm in a bad mood.
Well, I haven't,
I've-
looked, no, I haven't
I've-
looked at the
I've-
new givers yet.
I've had 3 or 4 this week.
I am in a great mood.
I actually had a couple new volunteers this week.
Nice.
So yeah.
Wait, but that was before Sunday.
No.
Oh, as a result
Well-
of the message.
Okay, I at least have one new volunteer after Sunday's Sunday service, whether or not it was a message or relationship status, helping get new
You
volunteers.
should just tell me it was because of the message so that the video goes well.
It was great. It was great. The message was amazing.
Okay, no, never mind. It's fine.
No, he's still in a good mood, right?
Yeah, I'm still in a good
Okay,
mood. It's okay.
And then went into the real message, which was mission.
Oh, yep. Yep. So we wrapped up the series, Essentials, and the mission is absolutely essential. I could talk about the mission 52 weeks a year. It's awesome. I love talking about it. It's cool. And yeah, basically, I mean, this was the thing I hope people left with. I don't know if they did or not, but if it's essential to God, then it's essential for us. Kind of like we can't continue to grow in our relationship with God and ignore like the number one thing that God is passionate about right now. Not that that's the only thing he cares about, but like that he's focused on, that he's tasked us to do, that where his heart is, sort of thing. You just like you can't be close in a personal relationship with somebody that you're not like, don't share the same I mean, you can be acquaintances, you can hang out, but like you can't be close. Same thing with God. Like if his heart is for the mission to reach the lost, and that's not our heart, I don't know. Like you can only go so far then,
Right.
And so, yeah, that's it.
I think the
can see
thing
those
that's
eyes.
hard to, I don't like thinking about it, but yet I like thinking about it, and that is the reality of heaven and hell. And it is real, and you said something in the message about there's no in-between ground, there's no sort of saved or sort of lost.
Yep.
There is either connected to God through Jesus Christ. That's why it's hurtful when people say, well, I think I'm going to go to heaven, or I hope I go to heaven when I die. Like, no. You don't understand salvation then, because,
Yep.
these things are written so that you may know that Jesus is the Christ, and that by believing in him, you will know that you have eternal life, that he is the way to the Father.
Seems simple.
And the opposite of that is not just, oh, well, I'm
a good
born
person.
again or whatever. No, there is either saved through Jesus or eternal hell. And you can't even say that without a tear in your eye, or without a heart break. But we live in our world like it doesn't matter. And it's just so, I don't know, it's so hurtful. And sometimes we go to the fact, at least I do, where, man, there is nothing more important than this. This is everything. This is what I should be doing all of the time and all my stuff. And then, so we live in this world that says, well, that's overboard. And I get that. Well, we have other responsibilities. Yes, we do. We do have to take care of our families. We do have to go to work. We should mow our grass if we live in a neighborhood where everybody's mowing their grass. There's these
Country
things
living.
Yeah.
Hey, there's just things we have to do. And so, and then in America, we almost think like, well, vacationing and retiring and buying nice things
Those are musts.
is okay. I mean, that's fine. And you know what it is? It just comes down to this. What do we care more about? And this mission should affect how our lives look. It should. I don't know. I'm not going to be the judge of how it should look or if you should spend this much time. That's between us and God. But to ignore it or to not put it as a priority in my life. And I don't know if any of us could say it's the number one priority. It should be. But at least, is God drawing us to this is a priority?
Right.
Like you mentioned too, when Jesus asked his closest friends, do you understand how important this is? Do you understand that people's eternity is at stake here between him giving us this responsibility of being his ambassadors, us the responsibility of drawing people into a growing relationship with him? What can I do? The natural response is, what can I do? Those three you left us with there's probably more than that, but those are, if we're not doing those, what are we doing? Kind of a thing. Sharing our faith, sharing this hope that we have, this knowledge that we have that Jesus is the only way. Are we sharing that in relationship? Are we drawing people to that? Hey, are we engaged in this unified effort to draw the world? And by engaging that would mean definitely supporting it in all, volunteering, supporting. It's just, how do we excuse not doing that? The only way I can see doing that is just not looking at God. If I can just not look at God, I can be okay. But if I look at God and see his heart, that this is everything, this is what I sent Jesus to do. The parable of the lost son is just an amazing, analogy to what the Father is thinking, how much he wants us. How do we get away from... The only way to not be drawn into this mission is to, one, either not know salvation or not be close to God.
That's where I think this one, all the other ones were things that kind of help keep us moving. Being involved in the mission is certainly one of those too. Like what, like I said, when you share about what God has done, you get closer helping somebody else get. But this one, I think, is a great mirror as well. That if we don't have a passion for the mission, I think it's a huge indicator I am not spending enough time with God. Like, I am not as close in my probably still, if we put our trust in Jesus, definitely still just as saved. But I don't know how you could not be passionate for the mission if you are experiencing God's presence, because that's what his heart is all about. So it's not necessarily like, I got to do, if you don't feel passionate for the mission, just spend more time with God, because it will happen. You won't have to force it, or they told me I got to volunteer, I got to be a part of what God is like. No, not at all.
I think oftentimes in Christian circles, we've talked about this quite a bit. I think that Christians sometimes feel okay with, I'm serving God by not getting drunk, by not cheating on my spouse, by not,
swearing.
I'm not sinning, not swearing. So I'm serving God by not doing those things. And I don't know how, we try our best to compel people to get us to understand. If we are not engaged in the mission, are we serving God or ourselves? Are we, these things we're doing for God are really for us. To serve God has to be connected to serving the mission. I don't see it any other way.
Right. Well, I always view it this way. Without the first one, if people weren't sharing, I wouldn't have come to church. It took somebody to share and invite to get me to come to church. And it was not just a one-time, hey, this is what God's doing in my life, and then I went to church. No, it was months and months of... I had a couple people in my life doing that very thing. And then if it wasn't for serve and support, there would be no church to go to.
Yeah.
There would be nowhere to go to. So I think that's the part that gets lost is not only do we have to draw people in, but there has to be somewhere for people to go. And that's why all three of those pieces are so crucial to the mission.
Essential.
Very essential.
I really think that
wrong word.
the Christian in America, I'm talking generally speaking, the Christian in America does not know the importance of the local church. Yeah. How many, all of us know?
Well, the Christian in America,
I know dozens.
The local church barely plays any role in my life.
Right. And I'll bet everybody watching knows dozens of people who, oh, I'm a Christian and really a Christian.
Jesus?
Is it Jesus? Oh,
Nope.
No, not this time. He's probably going to text later. We know dozens of Christian people who would even claim I'm a Christian or, say God bless you or whatever, but have no connection to the church whatsoever. And the same thing you're saying is, I don't know how you can be in a relationship with God. Now, you can know about God and you can know Bible stuff and you can not sin, supposedly. But how can you know God in relationship and not read 1st, 2nd, 3rd John? How can you know God and not be in relationship with God's people doing God's mission? Mm-hmm. It seems impossible. Now, you're saved. I get that. You are a Christian. But you have to be a Christian that isn't in close relationship.
I don't remember what book I was reading. It was one of the ones we've talked about recently, but the idea of, Jesus is God, the head of the church, right? And then we're all parts of the body. And the analogy he made with that was, okay, to say you love Jesus and not the church or be involved is to say like you just love a decapitated head. Like
That's
Nobody loves that.
that's disgusting.
That's
That's
disgusting.
gross. That's not correct. That's not right. So
That is gross.
yeah. Well, I'm a hand and I love the head, so it's just decapitated head and a cut off hand just hanging out together. Like, what?
So I heard the analogy. We did it here once, years and years ago, with a fake hand in a bottle. Remember that?
I don't remember that one.
Oh
No?
yeah, in a jar. Like, yeah, I'm a Christian, but if I'm separated from the body,
Oh.
like a
yeah.
dead hand,
Yeah.
that if you're not connected to the body, then you can't move. You probably stink. You have no use, no value. What do you mean
You're rotting.
If you're a part of the if you're a Christian, shouldn't you or don't you, to be worth anything, you have to be connected to the body, right? Or else you don't function.
Seems pretty clear biblically speaking. So
Yeah.
But in America, we're super self-centered, and what can please me right now, I'm not going to worry about what's going to happen when I die, because that's not going to happen for a while.
or when my neighbors or
Yeah.
whoever. They're
Whatever.
good
I'll get to it
people.
later.
I'm good.
Yeah, and the idea of serving, well, but that's going to take me away from my fun things that I like to do that make me happy right now.
Yeah, it will.
And the crazy thing is, it's actually serving is a lot of fun. And people, once they start doing it, because you should be doing it in the gifts God gave you, you are doing things that you enjoy doing with other fellow Christians, growing the kingdom. It's actually a lot of fun.
Yeah.
But people don't realize that until they try it out.
The mission is essential. I don't
Mission
know how you
is
can get
essential.
around it. It is the number one thing God is focused on right now. It is the number one thing He has asked us to do.
Right.
So
That's his biggest outreach.
to work your way around it is disingenuous. Like there's no, I don't know. So
I don't know who said it, but you might remember who said it. But the statement was, how much do we have to hate people
Pendulette.
Pendulette. Yep.
to not share the gospel with them or to provide a place for them to experience God in a ministry? Like, how much do we have to hate people to just say, nope, I found the treasure and I don't want you to?
Yeah, when he talks throughout the rest of that, if I believe a truck is coming at you at 100 miles an hour, there's a point where I'm just going to literally push you out of the way because that's what you need, and like to not do that is the highest
Or
form
to
of
not
hate.
even say, hey, watch out, there's a truck coming.
You're
But
just
to-
walking on the side of the
but
road
to say-
yourself.
But to say nothing and
Yeah.
just watch it
Oof.
happen, is...
Yep.
And what's it going to take for us to, like, wake up? This is real. Reading what you said is, I guess we just feel like, yeah, someday it'll be serious. Yeah, someday, just push it off. We are getting older quickly, okay? Life goes by very fast.
And the fact of the matter is, there's no time on anybody's life, as far as like what we know. Like we don't know when our days are over. God does. We don't, and we need to be more serious about that because we're not guaranteed tomorrow.
Absolutely.
You know, COVID or no COVID, like we're all dying of something, and we need to take that seriously because there is an eternity after that. And where do you want to go?
Yep.
Where do you want other people to go too?
Well, that too.
Yeah.
This mission and unity and working together, the work of the church, is so important that I support following the government on two things. You know, the what and the why. What are they asking us to do, and why are they asking us to do it? And if there's another shutdown, I suppose I personally would be fine. Is there a time limit? Is it a short time? But if it's a long time, that then will violate what God's told us to do. And so I'm not saying I know the time or whatever, but I know this, that principle. Sure, we can say, hey, for right now, for safety, for everybody we love, and we can't do this. But for how long? Because if it's permanent, or if it's just from now on, we will be forced to break that because this mission and unity together is mandated by God.
Because of the
as
last 2 weeks.
essential. Yep.
Because of the last two, you know? Do we have to meet in hundreds of people at a time? No. But will we still need to meet with each other for ourselves and for the mission? Absolutely.
Yep.
We cannot go into total isolation and quarantine again.
And if it was for 2 weeks, fine.
Yeah, sure, 2 weeks.
You know, the point is, I don't know the time, but
Me either.
it can't be permanent. It just can't be.
Right. And I've heard some people in some circles are like, if the world gets much crazier than this, we've got a call and we're just going to go out to our remote areas and just camp out there. And I've looked, and I don't see where in the Bible it says run.
God has not called us to hide.
I don't see
He's
that in
not
there.
called us to save our own skin. He's
Right.
not called us to that.
I mean, we're good, right? So why wouldn't we want other people to be good before things got really...
One of
Yeah,
you
I
mentioned
think we're
this fear of dying. Like, why would Christians be so controlled with this fear
We
of
had a
dying?
video or something on, didn't we?
Yeah.
Did we?
Okay.
A couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
And if we
sure.
all
You could
ran
watch
away,
it.
who would be here to left to spread the message? Nobody.
Yeah. I think we're supposed to be the ones to run into the fire,
Right.
not
Yeah.
away from it.
So, how's this for us to just ask ourselves the question?
Okay.
Are you doing all three? And how committed are you to all three?
Right.
I think, you know, if you ask for us specifically too, outside of our job. Right? Because we could have an easy, like, oh, yeah, of course. Well, no, hold on. Like, we've got different roles than other people. So outside of the job, how much are we doing these?
Amen.
So,
And you and I, as credentialed pastors, we are mandated to give 10%. So, oh, yeah, I'm supporting. But how much do we do over and above that? Or how much, you know, do we want to support? We're mandated to support the district, which is important. But besides that, do we support this place in other ways? And you know, financially even, you know, be
sharing, serving, supporting.
Yeah. And that's it.
There you go.
So go ahead and watch that video. If you haven't seen the message, it'll be popping up below.
You know what? Just rewatch the whole series.
That's
Because
Just
it's
go ahead.
essential.
Also a great
It'll
idea.
take you as much time as a movie. So instead of watching a movie on Netflix tonight, just watch all 4 messages right in a row.
It's essential.
It's essential.
Yep. And we'll see you next week when we come back with a new message series called.
You have to find out.
Oh, okay.
that's
No,
a
that's what it's
weird
called.
title.
That's what it was called. The message series. You'll have to find out. All right. Sounds awesome. See you next week.